All right. Well, here we are. I have another project for us. I picked this printer up off of Craigslist. The guy, he was letting it go. I think it was a little too much. I had to get him to lower the price a little bit due to the condition it was in. But it's not bad though. It'll be a nice printer if we can get it going. But let's take a close look at it. Yeah, so here's the next project. You can see it's a Creality C10, and it's definitely been used. It sat in somebody's garage. What is that, filament? There's dust, leaves. Is that sawdust? Yeah, this thing has been through it. So obviously the first thing I'm going to do is clean her up. Why did they have this hanging? Alright, so the thing is though, I saw it printing, but he said the bed temp is stuck at like 110, so it's just stuck at the max. And so I need to check into that. Why he took all this off for me to carry, I have no idea. But that's fine. I'll track down which one is which. I think they're labeled though, right? I'm going to have to take a look at the motherboard too. So it could be firmware, it could be a motherboard. Who knows what else this thing needs? But that's the whole purpose of this video, is to inspect, troubleshoot, and fix whatever is wrong with these 3D printers. Maybe even upgrade this one. It's a C10. It looks still pretty solid, right? It just needs a lot of cleaning up. But so enough talk. I'll clean this up and we'll get back to you. So I've already cleaned it up a little bit, and while I was cleaning it up, I found a few loose places here that I, should have showed you on film, but I get carried away sometimes and just start doing stuff without filming it. But this was a classic case. This thing, and I did see it print, but it was rattling around. This end was loose, so I just went and tightened everything down a little bit, and so it looks like it's pretty snug and still moving. This one has a couple of dead spots, it seems like, right in here, like right there, and right over here somewhere. And I need to find out what is causing that. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's on the X carriage here, or is it on the rail somewhere? I didn't feel any burrs, or is it with the motor? I just got to look at it a little closer. And I did tighten the belt. They were very loose. The Y belt was very loose. But I just tightened it up. Seems like it's moving pretty good. And you can see some of the minor upgrades. It has the upgraded wheels here, and the springs, and then the upgraded extruder piece here, and it actually feels kind of loose. But we can always address that later also. The main thing that I wanted to look at, and he was saying this, that the bed would go up to 110 degrees, but there's no controlling it. He couldn't tone it down. So he didn't know if it was the bed or the motherboard or anything like that. But let's see if you can see what I'm going to look at here. I took the bottom off. Well, he had the bottom off before. I put it back on when I was transporting it. But first, let's see. Let me move the camera for you. So you see here back on the box, you know, it has these aircraft connectors. Well, this one apparently had come off, and he just spliced in the power going to the bed. But in doing so, if you look at this, these are the wires, if I'm not mistaken, that go to the thermistor, and they're just kind of cut off and wrapped in tape. And you know, that's could be why that he has no control over the heat. It's because I'm going to take a good close look at this. Yeah, I think it's just the thermistor. The thermistor wires are just cut off. Yeah, they're just there. So that's probably one of the first things I'm going to do. I'm going to go back. I guess I'll connect these wires, connect the thermistor again, and see if we can get control over the heater bed. And it does have, so this is an older CR-10, and it's got the that Creality V1.1.4 board on it. So it's still a 8-bit. So I guess that's the big question. After all this is said and done, do I get it just in working condition, or am I going to continue with upgrades? Because I might have a 32-bit board that I could swap out in here. But we'll see what happens. First I want to see if we can get this thermistor connected, and I want to find out where this flat spot is coming. Yeah, there it is right there. Alright, so all I did was just twist those twist the wires together before I go soldering and all that stuff, just before I just did a quick fix just to see if this is going to do it. Let's see what happens here as we power it up. Well, the nozzle's heated up to 185. Looks like he had it set for 185 and 45. And the bed's already at 54, 55, 56. It's still climbing. Well, I was hoping that would be an easy fix, but apparently not. We'll have to take a closer look at that thermistor cable, and maybe you ought to check it back here too. The next step, if I know the cable's connected, I don't know if the thermistor is damaged under here, but as far as the board goes, I have the board that's in there. You can see it's that Creality, the V1.1.4, and I have a couple of these. These came off of the Ender 3 Pros that I have, and I know the Ender 3s are 24 volt, and I believe everything on this was rated at 12 volts, but the board itself, and when I'm looking at it stamped, it says DC 12 to 24. So I guess it just uses whatever you feed into it, right? So I'm just going to swap the boards and then test it again. If it does the same thing, then we know the board's good. The cables are connected, but we'll just have to get in finer detail. But it's a process of elimination, right? So I just want to make sure I want to eliminate if it's a problem with the board, then we solved it. If it's not a problem with the board, then at least we've taken care of that, and we can move on with other stuff. So I don't know if you want to get bored with doing this. I'm just gonna one by one just take the connectors off and put them over to this. So Well, just by moving around, look at that. Just by moving this around, you can see these wires just came off. And are these going to, they have one of the fans plugged in here where it should be, right there. Oh, I'm not showing you what I'm doing. So everything that came connected, unconnected, was coming out of these two, which is just power out. And then these two are the bed, and these two are the hot end, yeah. And it looks like they have one fan going in here, the way it should be on this connector, and there's another one here that wasn't being used. Okay, well, this is what I'm running into. I'm on the last cables, little power cables coming out to be reconnected. Here's the CR-10 board that I yanked out. There's no funny smell or anything to it. I think the board is good, because what I'm running into here, can you see what I'm looking at? So here's this group of ground wires. There's 1, 2, 3, and here's another one. So there's 4. Same thing here, a group of 3, and here's this for 4. Now I thought this fan, the case fan, so there's the power going to the case fan, and it's within this group of 3, but the ground for the case fan is free. So this one and this one, this was going to the positive power for the bed, and this was on the negative connector for the bed, but it was actually going to the fan. So this one I'll hook up back to where it should be, to the bed, but I need to figure out which one of these grounds is also going to the bed with this one. Hook it up the way it should, and then take the ground for the fan and connect it to this group. Does that make sense? So we have something cross-wired here. There's the power to the bed, and this is the power going to a fan, but it was connected to where the bed should have been. So could that be the problem? I don't know. Because the power going to the fan, everything that was connected here, it's always on, right? Going to these fans. So maybe that's why it was constantly drawing some power. If one of these cross-grounded going to the bed, maybe it was still drawing a current and going through, you know what I mean? But what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut these wires, strip them down where I can get to each one individually. And looking at the back, here's where the power goes to the bed. So I'm going to check the ground on here, the ground going to the bed, and do a continuity check and figure out which one is which. Well, the ground is going up here on this terminal. So, okay, I'm going to have to look at this a little closer. So we've got the main power going to this terminal and up to the power supply. So what are all these doing? And why was it connected? Oh, here we go. I'll be able to separate them right here. This connector, I'm sure, let me get rid of this wire tie from here. It's wrapped around here, and we'll be able to see which ones they are, and then we'll connect from here straight to the output. Alright, does that make sense? So this is what gets me too. There's a group of 3 that have been soldered together. One of them is going to this fan. That leaves 2. This fan is accounted for. Here's the fan plug right there, going through. Well, that leaves 2 powers. Alright, going to where? We've got 1 fan, 2 fans. One of these will be a fan up here on the, either for the part fan or the hot end fan. But there's 1 left over. And where is that power going to? I do not know. Oh, there's 2 case fans here. There's 1 here, there's 1 in the back. Okay, so that accounts for that. That was throwing me there for a minute. So, okay, I think everything is hooked up except for this. Let me, I want to make sure the thermistor is connected here. Alright, everything's plugged in. The thermistor is, they're spliced in together here for sure. Yeah, I wish I would have found that swapped ground connection before I swapped the board, because now we don't know which one's the fix. If it starts to work, well, was it the swapped ground, or was it the board? I don't know. I think the board's good, to tell you the truth, but I mean, I don't see any discoloring. It doesn't have any kind of smell, so I think it's just a bad connection here, but we're about to find out. Let's power it up. Alright, let's see what happens. And to tell you the truth, you know, I guess it doesn't matter if I'm switching boards. I'm just trying to troubleshoot it, but to tell you the truth, I would like to swap it for a 32-bit board instead of this 8-bit that's in there. Everything's starting to climb. The nozzle's climbing pretty nicely. The bed's kind of slow, but it is climbing. But we'll see if it'll stop at 45. It looks like that was looks like that did it. So if you can see the control. So the nozzle is stabilized at 185, and the bed, I saw it go up to 46, 47, then it went back down to 45. So that was it. I think it was just that swapped ground, that misconnection. So, well, good deal. So that's one thing solved. I'm just going to go back here and I guess I could solder these 2 wires here for the thermistor. Get it good and clean. That's one problem solved. Alright, so let's see what's up with this thing. I'm sure it vibrated a lot. I'm going to take it apart, see if there's anything loose in there. Just an exploratory surgery here. Yeah, it has some sticky spots in there. Right there and right there. It's hard to tell. But first, what is this sticking out? A magnet? I have no idea. Boy, this thing has been battered, hasn't it? Well, hopefully that was the culprit of all that vibration and noise. I don't know where that came off of. A little tiny magnet. This fan has a broken blade. You see that right there? It's missing. And what else? Before I put it back on, I need to find out where this, why is that sticking right there? Let me loosen up this eccentric nut. Let's see if it'll see now, even with it loose like that, it's still sticking right there. So there is, I'm going to take this whole thing off. Something is in there. Alright. Take this off. Let's take a look and see what we can find. And I'm going to loosen the belt a little bit, so we can slide that out. Alright. So is there something on this that was binding, or is it something on the rail? I really don't feel anything. I don't feel anything there. Let's grab the belt and work it back and forth and see. Okay, I can feel it on the motor. What is it, girlie? That's my dog whining. So we're tracking it down where I'm moving the belt back and forth, and there I can feel it sticking. So it's something with the motor. I'm going to leave this off and we'll move over here and take the motor off and take a look inside, make sure there's nothing in there, like stuff like this. I don't know where this little magnet was, and everything down in these little channels and stuff. Remember when we looked at it when I very first got this thing, it was just, and there's still some of it, it was just coated with crap. I mean, it was just, looks like filament, leaves, dust, dirt, whatever. So maybe there's something in here that's causing that. I hope it's not the motor. If it is, you know, a replacement's fairly cheap, and I might have one that I can put in here, but let's move around where we can take a look. Alright, well, let's concentrate on this motor here. I don't see anything in there. I'm dropping everything. There we go. Yeah, I think it's the motor. I can feel it. There, it hangs up right there. And right there. And it moves freely. So, I am assuming this motor has gone bad. So if it's hanging up like that, chances are it could be skipping some steps also, and that's not good for the print. So let me see if I have a replacement for this, or one similar. Not sure if I do or not. Alright, I'm back. That was kind of quick. The parts got here in a couple of days, so I think we can go ahead and finish this off. I got the replacement, both fans here, and turns out they are the Creality branded fans. I didn't even realize that when I ordered it. And the replacement motor, also Creality. So we got factory stuff, and thanks to Amazon, they got here just in 2 days. So let's go in here. We'll switch out the fans, switch out the motor, and we'll see how it prints. All right, let's see. Well, there's the two fans. So there's a couple of new fans. Alright, so this should be very easy to take off, just like we did, just like when we took it off to troubleshoot it. I'm just going to take this whole thing off. And I forgot, first I'm going to loosen up the belt here. It'll be much easier to take it off. There we go. Oh, that feels much better. Slip that on. Now I'll look down. I want to make sure that that this is lined up with the belt, and then I'll do it. All right, perfect. Let's get this on. You know what I'd like to do is take this cover off this motor, off the stepper motor, and see why it's binding up. See if it's because when I look down in here, see all the crap, some crap got in there somehow. It'd be interesting to see what's in there. So I'm going to do it, but I'm going to cut it short because I'm ready to do a test print. But if this is the kind of stuff you like to see, let me know. This is, I dig it. So I like to take stuff apart and get a root cause analysis, you know. So let me know next time. I'll include it on the video. So back to this. Let's get everything set up and do a test print. All right. Well, everything seems pretty quiet, especially up here. When it first started off, while I was preheating it, the fans in the box were awfully loud. I don't know if it was from the power supply or the two fans that are in the box, but I'll figure that out later. I just want to test out the functionality here. First, let's get I'm not used to this old menu structure here, but let's get it honed in. And this is an old card, so it is kind of noisy. Alright, looks like it's still level where it should be. Don't have a BL touch or anything on there, so this is bare bones CR-10 right now. So let's get, boy, this thing is slow, even just going through the menu here. So there's our calibration cube. While it's warming up the rest of the way, I'll tune back in when it starts to print. Well, there we go. Not bad. There's a lot of ghosting going on. And I can see the infill through the wall. I have to look and see what infill that is. I know I only did 20%, and I usually do the grid, but this looks a little different. But overall, I'm very pleased. So here's the one we did with the bad motor, and you can see how it that huge major shift in the X because of that motor. But now it is printing good. Do I have my calipers here? Yes, I do. Let's see how accurate this is. 19.93, 20.24, 20.26. So the Y is a little short. So not bad though, you know, a little tweaking and no problem. Well, I have to say I'm pretty pleased. Just took a little troubleshooting, find out what the problems are, and in this case it was some faulty wiring, keeping the bed from having any kind of control. It would just go through the roof until it shuts off. The fans needed to be replaced, and the motor needed to be replaced. But overall, so this is a base CR-10, and total from what I bought this and the replacement parts, I have what, $110 invested. So not a bad deal, right? So the question is, you know, after you clean one up like this and you get it running good, you always crunch the numbers. You know, when I was purchasing this, it was all going through my head. Well, if it could be this, or that, and it might be, you know, up to, you know, $100 that I'd have to dump into it. Is it worth it, right? If I bought this for $100 and had to put $100 in parts and fixes, is $200 worth it? I mean, you can get a new one for $300, right? So you got to go through all that in your head, and there's a number of upgrades that I could do that would benefit this tremendously. Yeah, so I think it's a great candidate for it, given that I hardly have any money into it. So after I upgrade everything, so now if I dump another, now if I do drop $100 on it, so I'll have $210 into it, but it'll be a full-blown performance machine. It'll hopefully performance machine. I think it will be, but it'd give me a lot more options on you know, what filaments I can use, and with the larger volumes, the prints that I can turn out. But enough talk. That's basically it for this one for now. You can see the only changes I made were the changes out of necessity, right? I fixed the wiring back here, got the fans and the motor. After that, it's good like it sits. So now you're at a point where you can make the decision. But these first changes were for necessity. Everything else is going to be upgrades, right? So, well, I guess that's it. I think this could turn out to be a pretty good printer, and I've heard from some guys that have them that they're real workhorses, you know, and I hope so. I'm finding that out with my other printers after I upgraded these Ender 3 Pros, and they're workhorses right now. So I'd like to get another one added in, but we'll see. And I guess that's it for this video. So as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and watch my next video.